Today, signing in is Rachel Glenn Gomez Wagway, a MAELT student. I am going to share to you some insights on how learning can be facilitated in the classroom. Indeed, learners are diverse in their abilities, aptitudes, interests, values, attitudes, readiness, and learning profile. They differ in their capacity to comprehend and assimilate information for their own application. Thus, we should try our best to make this teaching and learning process effective and successful. It is a big challenge to us to take them into the next levels. How learning is facilitated. First, we must take into consideration the three elements at work in the classroom. These are the approach, methods, and techniques. We shall also take note of the lead approach or constructivism. And lastly, we are going to compare traditional teaching and constructivism so that we are going to have a clear view on what approaches we are going to use in our teaching and learning process. Now we are going to discuss the three elements at work in the classroom. We have approach, method, and technique. Approach is a set of belief systems or philosophy dealing with the nature of education or of language learning and teaching. An approach is a set of beliefs, ideas, principles about language teaching on which educators anchored their teaching methods and techniques. Examples of approach can be multiple intelligences, whole language, concept learning, and among others. Now, method is an overall plan for systematic presentation of the concept based upon a selected approach. Methods are the combination of techniques that are used by the teachers in order to teach their students. So you can have group work, you can have individual work. Lastly, we shall talk about technique. These are specific activities manifested in the classroom. So in your class, you can have journal writing, role playing, video recording, and many more. Techniques are the strategies that we use in order to provide students with effective instruction. The slide shows the operational hierarchy in bridging teaching, learning, and philosophy of education. It says that approach is philosophical. A while ago, we learned that approach are the set of principles, beliefs, and ideas on which teachers anchored their teaching way. Now, method is procedural. There are different ways or there are different procedures on how we teach our students. So we can teach them by group class. We can also teach them by individual class. Now it also talks about the technique, which is implementational. So we based our teaching on the approach and on the method, and we implement through the techniques or strategies. In addition, an approach gives rise to methods, the way of teaching something, which use classroom activities to help learners learn. And techniques must be consistent with a method and therefore in harmony with an approach. The lead approach, which is currently used in the field of education, is constructivism. Constructivism is basically a theory based on observation and scientific study about how people learn. It says that people construct their own understanding and knowledge of the world through experiencing things and exploring those experiences. When we encounter something new, we have to reconcile it with our previous ideas and experiences, and we decide whether to believe what we already know or disregard the new information. In any case, we are active creators of our own understanding. To do this, we have to ask questions, explore things, and assess what we know. In the classroom, it is important to encourage our students to use active techniques of learning. Now let us compare traditional teaching and constructivism. In constructivism, learning is an active process. It is not only the teacher who does everything during the process, but there is a big participation of the learners. Constructivism is a mental construction. It means that students construct their own understanding by reflecting their own experiences and by relating the new knowledge with what they already know. This can be explained by Piaget's term assimilation and accommodation, which explains how meaning is constructed and new concept is formed. Constructivism is anchored on schema theory, which describes a systematic pattern of thought and behavior that organizes categories of information and the relationships among them. Now, traditional teaching is the exact opposite of constructivism. It is instructor-centered. It means that the instructor or the teacher does only everything during the process. So there is only one way transfer because it is only the teacher who is feeding understanding to the students, and the students just simply swallow what is being fed to them. So because of that, there is no room for thinking and understanding by the learners. And there is also a limited participation in the traditional teaching. I would like to share to you the approaches anchored on constructivism. First approach is called whole language. The proponents of the whole language believe that language is a complex system of making meaning, with words functioning in relation to each other in context. It is acquired holistically. For example, the macro skills reading, speaking, listening, and writing should reinforce one another. They should be taught simultaneously. The second approach is called multiple intelligences. It is the theory by Howard Gardner which posits that humans are endowed with different or various intelligences. Thus, teaching methodologies and teaching techniques should cater to various intelligences. The third approach is called schema theory. People use schemata to organize new knowledge and provide framework for future understanding. Fourth approach is called cooperative learning. It is a teaching method where students of different abilities are grouped and rewarded according to the group success. The elements include face-to-face interaction, positive interdependence, individual accountability, group processing, and collaborative skills. So it is encouraged that students work collaboratively. The fifth approach is called differentiated instruction. It consists of the efforts of teachers to respond to the variance among learners in the classroom. So varied learners receive varied teachings. The sixth approach is called English for specific purposes. It focuses on the refinement of the teaching of English for a particular discipline. Seventh approach is called reflective teaching and learning. It is a process of self-assessment and internalizing new insights gained and apply them for new learning experience. The eighth approach is called modular approach. It allows for simultaneously developing and testing the various components and also helps break down a large and complex system into more manageable parts. The ninth approach is called experiential learning. It involves learning from experience. Knowledge is created through the transformation of experience. Next approach is called concept learning or category learning. It is the search for and listing of attributes that can be used to distinguish exemplars from non-exemplars. Our mental categories help us to classify things building on the understanding that things have a set of common relevant features. Next, we have inquiry-based learning. It is principally very closely related to the development and practice of thinking skills. To do this, it starts with posing a question or scenario in order to establish facts. Next, we have discovery learning. It encourages learners to build on their prior knowledge through experience and to search for new information and relationships based on their interest. Now let us have process approach. It is the application of a system of processes within an organization together with the identification and interaction of these processes and their management. Slide presents the techniques and methods anchored on the approaches I shared. For the techniques, we have journal writing and role-playing. For the methods, we have lecture, discussion, demonstration, brainstorming, group reporting, and cooperative learning. All of them can be very helpful ways of teaching. To end this video, I would like to share to you a quote from Michael Morpurgo. It says that it's the teacher that makes the difference, not the classroom. So, our teaching can make a difference in students' lives. Thank you. Have a nice day.